Welcome back to another episode of Talking Tarkov. I'm the Ear Leg Athlete, and I'm here with.
Hey Dizzle.
And today we will be discussing why and what made us jump over to PVE mode, as well as what our plans are for the future and things like that. What made you specifically jump from PvP to PVE? You started the wipe first, and you were here when it happened, right? When it went from PvP to
Right.
PVE.
Correct.
What was your driving force? What made you switch?
Well, number one, I had always liked the idea of a PvE Tarkov. I had actually played a lot of the SPT Tarkov. I would always just download it, and I would get into it, and I would just think, man, I wish this was in the base game. So when it happened, I was number one, I was shocked because I thought they would never do it. And number two, I was like, it's worth trying out. Obviously, they're going to put the mode in, might as well try it. And I was kind of hoping that it would be, exactly like the SPT. And when I hopped into it, immediately I noticed, you know what I mean? Like, hey, if I want to do a certain thing in the raid, it's much easier considering I don't have, 8 to 14 other players in here trying to take me out. And it
Yeah,
just went from
that's
that to, like, hey, might as well just see how far I can go. And I just got used to it and wanted to stick with it.
yeah, that was when I had started back into Tarkov. You had mentioned PVE. I think I even started on PvP briefly, and you were like,
Yeah,
"Well, let's
yeah.
just go play PVE." I think I don't remember exactly how it was. I'm pretty sure Bildo was getting back
Um,
into it and stuff.
the wipe had happened, and I kept getting a hold of you. I was like, "Hey, you gonna play some Tarkov?" And you're like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah." Well, then I told you about like the transitions and all that stuff because that had come in with the wipe, and you're like, "Yeah, yeah, let's I'll hop on." So me and you ended up you hopped on PvP with me, and I had done the labs one, and I wanted to show it to you. So
That's
we ended
right.
up
We
doing the
went and did the
labs one.
tasks. Yeah,
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 we ended up doing a few tasks. I got into I think I got into the 20s, level 20 something. Then basically I just kind of stopped playing. I think I had to work a lot or something, so wasn't playing in the next few days. Then I started seeing you on, and I was like, "Hey, what are you playing?" And you're like, "I'm playing PvE." I'm like, "Oh shit!" Like, well, I have a PvE character already where I was playing too. And then that's
yeah.
kind of
That's what it
how.
was. Yeah, Cody and Bill wanted to play Tarkov now that PVE was here, so we had all three hopped on. That's right. And then me and Bildo were
Yeah,
playing a
because
little
you
bit.
remember
Yeah,
I kept
that's
messaging
right.
you trying to get you to come over to play PvP, and you're like, "Well, he's like, we're all kind of stuck on this right now." And I was like, "You know what?
It
I
was,
have a character
yeah.
too."
Yeah, that's right. When I first got on, I was in love with PvE, and I still am. I
Yeah,
really enjoy it. I do miss that
me
human
too.
interaction from PvP, just like the crazy situations that happen. And I'm the
Yeah,
lighthouse loot giver, so like I'm sure they've all missed me handing out GPUs and bitcoins and stuff to them. I'm like Santa Claus every fucking raid, and like just fun stuff like that. It was just little situations that would pop up and happen. Not necessarily even like the PvP gunfights, but just like the interactions in general. But yeah, when I got over to PVE and the PMCs, the AI PMCs, they felt realistic enough. Granted, they still needed work, but it was like they would
yeah,
knock you
they're a
out in a
threat.
firefight. They were a threat.
Yeah,
So you had to at least pay attention and think about your placement and what you were doing a little bit. But having Bill get into it so much was nice because it's like I've always been in that position of being the least amount of hours played, still learning the game, figuring things out, and then like to see somebody else in the position that I was in, like
right.
starting to see the gears turn for them, and like, they're figuring out how it works and how raids are meant to be ran, not just But anyways,
You got to kind of Sherpa him in, like show him
yeah,
everything.
yeah, which is what happened for me. You, a Dizzle here.
Right.
I had started playing Tarkov. This is a tangent. But I guess it just got brought into the story anyways. So I started playing Tarkov with my buddy Sigafus, and he didn't really know what the fuck he was doing, and I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. I barely understood the game, let alone going past like going into a raid and doing stuff. And he just started showing me stash routes. So that's all I did for a few weeks of Tarkov when I first started playing was just go to interchange and run the stashes. And I thought like I was doing something. Especially I'd see a player or a scav, or honestly I couldn't tell the difference at the time.
Right.
Like I was
Yeah,
just
it's
scared in
it's
this
almost
raid
impossible at
trying to
first to know
remember
the
this
difference.
route. Yeah, like where's the extract? Which way do I go? And then oh shit, there's this guy with a gun, 50 meters that way. 20 meters that way. But so like I get 100 hours in the game maybe, and I run into a Dizzle because we know each other in real life, and we were talking as I'm buying a GPU from him, and he mentioned Starkov, and I was like, I have it, dude, but I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. Like, I hate it. It sucks. I don't enjoy it. I don't understand it. And he's like, well, come play a few raids with me, and like I'll help you out. Well, that wipe that I started playing with a Dizzle, I put over 1,000 hours into the game,
Yeah.
and just full dove into it. Like it was awesome, and it
Yeah,
finally
we were
started.
playing every night.
Yeah, it was fun. But yeah, it was nice to see somebody else getting that experience. But specifically, back to the PVE stuff. Going there for the first time, I really liked the idea that I didn't have to worry about somebody running 100 mile an hour or flying over my head or grenades falling through floors or just random shots from across the map or anything
Right.
crazy from the hackers or cheaters, and like not having to worry as much about getting task completions done. I will say it's more of a casual Tarkov,
Yeah, it's
and
a
I
casual experience.
do really genuinely love that hardcore PvP
Yeah.
experience.
Yeah.
But it's also really nice to take a step back and just do the thing. Just run the
We got
tasks, run the raids,
you
and just
gotta
have
think
fun with
about
it.
it. We had been playing what, the last 4 wipes together? 3 or
4 or 5,
4
yeah. It's
or
been a
something like that,
few.
yeah. Yeah, we've been playing, PvP nonstop, and it's like every every wipe we're, starting out and we play and play and play. Usually get to like level 30, 40, and then we kind of fall off and start playing other games and stuff.
Right.
So it was kind of cool. It like reintroduced me into Tarkov because where I had been working and stuff when I sorry, this is kind of backwards, but when I first played Tarkov, I wasn't working or anything, so I had time to just play it nonstop.
Right.
So if a wipe happened, I could just keep up with everybody. I could, keep pace and I could just play, play,
Yeah,
play.
you just know life, yeah.
That was the one time I've only got Kappa once, and that was like probably my third. I think it was my second or third wipe, and that's because I could play nonstop. Every wipe since then, I had been pretty busy, and it's like you don't really have the if you don't have the time to play a lot, it's easy to fall behind, like very easy.
Oh, so quick.
Yeah, and then when you fall behind, you get discouraged because everybody else has got better gear, more money, better ammo. It's like you're out there with the SKS with PS ammo fighting dudes with, AKs with BP and you know what I mean, Altons and freaking, you know what I mean, Zucks
Yeah,
on or whatever.
absolutely. Right.
And so it gets you a little discouraged. And it's like, but I missed that progression that I used to get when I could play all the time. So when PvE came, it was kind of like, hey, I can probably get that progression at my own pace because I'm not out there facing other players. It's like I can just whenever I can play, I can play. I don't have to worry
Right.
about someone having better armor. I mean, yeah, sometimes they do have better stuff than you, but it's AI still. Even though they are tougher than other enemies, they're still AI. It's basically the PMCs in PvE are like raiders on every map.
Right.
You have raiders running around basically. So anyways, it just all the time I had played Tarkov, I only got to experience, like, really
Certain
playing, like,
chunks of the game.
hardcore.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Right.
only got to do it once, and it had been a few years since I had been able to do that, so this gave me the opportunity to just dive back in, do all the missions, take my time with it, and just feel like I didn't have to race other people, kinda
Right.
just
Yeah.
casually.
Yeah, I can attest to that too. I enjoy not having to think that, which I know that to a degree you can always win the gunfight. That argument. It's like it doesn't
Yeah,
matter what you're
especially
running,
in
blah blah blah.
Tarkov. Yeah.
But when you start out and you're racing ahead to do everything, you get access to stuff that does make it significantly harder to kill you, obviously.
Right.
So it is nice to be able to just get on and just be like, hey, we need to knock out these tasks and do this, because I'll be honest with you, I've got, we'll say 2,500 hours, maybe a little bit less in PvP mode Tarkov, and I've never seen Kappa. Granted, I've never really cared to push for it, but it's also one of those things that there's like, at least up to a point for me, I was still new to the game, and it was like, man, I don't
Yeah,
know if
you
I'm
just
ready to hang
recently
up there.
started.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if I'm
Right.
at that level to like be like doing all this stuff, and like, I don't think I'm saying it properly.
Well,
I had to
it's all time, you
rephrase.
know what I mean? It's all time. Like if you had the time to put into it, because ever since we've been playing Tarkov together, we've both been working. So it's like
Right.
if you haven't really had the time to just play all day every day, and it takes a couple years to really learn Tarkov. You know, I mean, your first couple wipes are kind of practice. Like
Yeah, they absolutely are.
that's how difficult. You know, that's how big of a learning curve it has. So the fact that you had just started and you didn't have a bunch of time because that's the only thing holding you back from like getting Kappa. You know what I mean? It's you could do it in PvP. It's just you have to play. Like, you know, you have to play a lot.
Right. You only have so much time in a wipe cycle, so it's like you missed out on a chunk of it. You're already behind on tasking, so anytime you need to go do anything, it just feels like yeah, there's like this mountain in front of you that you're gonna have to push
Right.
through on top of everything else. But another
PvE gets rid of that discouragement.
yeah, exactly, because there is no time limit.
No.
It's a persistent server. You don't have to worry about your account being wiped.
Yep.
You get to just chill and go at the pace that you and the homies want to go at. And
And
it's
that's the other thing is you can bring your friends with you. And if you want to just, you know, show somebody how to play Tarkov, PvE is the perfect introduction. Like because number one, it's just a lot the environment's much more controllable. You know what I mean? Like you don't have to say, "Hey, I'm going to take you in to do this task," and then all get killed within the first 2 minutes, and
two
just have to
minutes,
go back
right?
re-up, and you know what I mean. Like you can kind of control. You can be like, "I know where the spawns are. I know where the safe areas are," and as long as you stick to that, you can pretty much get what you want to get done. PvP, that's not the case.
No,
You
PvP
never
is a
know.
war zone every time. And I'm trying to
Yeah.
play devil's advocate because I think if I had to pick one or the other and that was it, it's obviously going to be PvP. Like if it was
Yeah.
down to the wire, you have to either choose PvE for the rest of your time with Tarkov or PvP with the rest of your time with Tarkov. I'm leaning PvP. That's what I grew up like. There's this even now. There's this feeling when you go and raid on PvP. It's like I don't know what's going to happen here, and that's kind of
Pe-
a sense of
y-
enjoyment that I get from the game for that
Yeah, yeah,
aspect.
it has the extra element. It has
Yeah,
that heightened tension, like
it
because you
does.
just don't know. It's very unpredictable. Like it's predictable to a sense, but you still you there's always a chance someone's doing something that you wouldn't guess they would be doing. You know what I mean? Like someone could be waiting on a friend or running to, you know, like a side of the map to like record a video. So it's like you could run into anyone anywhere because they could be doing anything on the map. Like
Yeah,
it's not as simple as being like, oh well, you know, they spawned over there, they're going to run this way, that way. It's like you just never know. With PvE mode, you know what I mean? It's pretty much like there's no reason for someone to be in certain areas and you know they're not going to be there.
for the
Um
most part, there are times that
yeah,
that
yeah, there
happens
are weird
where
times.
yeah, but that's
And I mean, supposedly
very
the goal
random.
is, you know what I mean, to eventually make it like that where it's a little more unpredictable. Um, but yeah, that's a tough one. Like if I had to choose one, I'm thinking PvP. Like I feel like gun to my head right now, I have to choose. I think I would say PvP, but it's close. It's
It is
actually
close.
close.
It is close because PvE is very enjoyable. And I'm
Yeah.
not trying to say anything negative towards PvE because like I said,
No,
I do
I
this
love
is a lot of
PvP.
fun.
I
Or
love PvP.
PvE. Yeah. Yeah, I love PvP, but
Oh yeah.
I'm not saying like PvE's bad, whatever. Like
No.
it is by far some of the most fun I've had playing Tarkov in recent
Right.
patches and wipes, I guess. There's just
Highest
this
level you've got, like
yeah, I'm
it's the highest level
seeing
I've got. Like
Lightkeeper tasks now, we're
yeah.
actually working on Lightkeeper currently. It's we're getting the transmitter ready. So it's like things like that I probably could do on PvP, but I have to bust ass because again, I'm on a limited time frame, which then boils down or not boils down, but kind of breaks into subsections of well, if you're pushing for this specific thing, then you have to do these tasks. So I'm ignoring a chunk of these tasks over here that may give me cool rewards and help me level faster, give me more XP or whatever it is, but I'm trying to specifically just do these so I can just get Lightkeeper unlocked and then still have time to go do some raids and hang out and do whatever.
Right.
Like you're always on a time crunch on PvP, and
Well,
it's
and then
just
on top of that, you also just have the frustration of
yeah,
having a
absolutely
bad day where you just die, running into groups of, you know, 3 or 4 every raid,
right.
and you're just you know what I mean? Because most of the time, we're either playing solo or together. So it's like, you really don't have much of a chance against a 4 or 5 man, you know?
Not often. Well, yeah, and how many times have we?
Kissed? 3?
Yeah, right. But how many times have
Oh, my
we
bad.
loaded in to a raid? I lost my train of thought entirely. What the fuck?
Sorry.
You're good, dude.
That was my fault.
Um, how many times have we been in situations, not just for a raid or two, but like a week long stretch where it's like I've died 9 times, and
Yeah.
then as soon as I'm staying alive, now you're dying 9 times,
Yep.
and it's like it would literally be week long
100%.
stretches where the with PvP where it's just so sporadic and so just chaotic.
Yep.
It didn't matter how well we played and how well we moved together and communicated. Like shit was just happening. We were dying, and there is that extra frustration involved in that, and it is
Yeah.
very frustrating because it's like, okay,
Yes.
why are you even there? What are you doing? Like
Yeah.
you shouldn't be
It's
on
like
top
no
of this
matter
hill overlooking the backside of this map. Like that doesn't make sense.
Well, it's just like no matter what you do, you're sitting there with limited time, and it's like no matter what you do, you can't progress. So eventually, you just get frustrated and you give up. You're like, I only have 2 hours to play tonight. I've gotten
Right.
killed every time. So I wanted to do this mission. My buddy got it done, and now I'm trying to get it done, and I'm making him have to just wait to do his next mission because he's trying to help me. It's like it's just there's a whole another thing that's with PvP that you just don't have to worry about with PvE. But the one thing that PvP has that you'll never get in PvE is that adrenaline rush, that taking down a 2 or 3 man by yourself, getting the drop on them and taking their gear, and like that's something you just don't get in PvE. And you kind of get some sense of it, like when you're going up against bosses, you know what I mean? Because you're still fighting the bosses. It's the same boss that you would fight in PvP. But there's nothing like taking down another player or a group of players like that. Just that feeling is awesome in Tarkov, especially because every fight's kind of different.
Yeah.
'Cause
Yeah.
number one, you don't know what they're going to be wearing. You don't know what guns they're going to be running. You don't know what kind of ammo they're going to be running. You don't know how good they are. You don't know how many there are. There's just so much randomness to it that it makes every fight um, pretty awesome. Whether it's a one kill in dorms and you're trying to loot them because you're hearing people outside, or you killed 3 people with a nade and you don't have enough space to loot everything, but you're trying to hurry because you're thinking someone else might like. There's just all that that's on top of just the PvP fights that you don't really get in PvE.
And like you said, they are wanting to push it to be as close to that as they can, but it's just so hard to copy the human element.
I mean,
Um,
I think if it was up to Nikita, there would be no PvE, but just the overwhelming uh
Success of
surprise
it,
to him,
and yeah,
yeah, of how well it's done has made him have to, like, try to make it nice, make it good, make it similar. Like, it's understandable, though. He wants the game to be hardcore. He wants you to be
right.
playing against other players. He wants the game to be hard, frustrating.
Yeah, it's not supposed to be an easy game.
And here's the thing, I feel like if we had the ability to just sit and play Tarkov all day, a lot of that need for PvE would go away. Like,
Right, we could
I wouldn't
have
be
the
as
time
drawn
to
to
do
it.
what we want to do, yeah. But
Exactly.
I don't
So I
think
think a
I could ever walk away from PvE for a couple different reasons though. Like the persistent server just is so awesome. Like no matter how
well,
many wipes we go through on PvP,
r
we're always
right.
going to be able to come back and it's like, you know what? What if we stop right now on Lightkeeper? Guess what? Tomorrow in 6 weeks, 9 weeks, 12
We'll stop
weeks,
right now and I'll play
whatever.
again tomorrow.
I'll play again in 5 minutes and I bet you I'll still be on the same fucking task.
I quit Tarkov yesterday and
Yeah.
started the next day.
Yeah, it was like
But
12.
yeah,
But yeah, yeah. Um, come back weeks, months later and your progression's still exactly where it was. So
right.
it definitely caters to
Yeah,
the more casual players, but those casual players are casual because time restraints, work, family,
yeah.
kids,
A lot of
whatever.
different reasons. Yeah.
Yeah, and so it is definitely an awesome experience.
Well, here's a question. Do you think they should have never introduced the PvE? Do you think it's ruined Tarkov? Do you think it should have just been PvP only?
Okay, and like I said a minute ago, I am trying to play both sides here because I think I do prefer PvP more, just already stated reasons. But I don't think it hurt at all. I think it was a great introduction. I think that they did it really well, especially after seeing how much we all like it and enjoy it.
Right.
Putting that extra effort in, showing like, yeah, we didn't want this, but you guys enjoy it. Here's your, we'll make it as good as we can for you. Um,
Right.
I think that's really cool considering everything else they have going on. Like they didn't have to, but they did. I don't think it ruins the game. I don't think it. The only legitimate thing that I can come up with is the player base gets cut down a bit. But realistically, like I'm not one of those high end players by any means. I don't think I could usually get like upwards what like 8 to 10 KD range. Is that where is it or is that too far off?
No, I think that's definitely where you were. Uh,
Pretty decent
I
stats at the end of a wipe is what I'm getting at.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
And I all the fights that were anything notable that had kits worthwhile were the hardcore players anyways. You know, like the newer players are
right.
newer players no matter what part of the wipe we're in, no matter what wipe we are in, whether it's the first, second, 24th or whatever. You know, it's like the newer players don't typically run the swankiest shit because they're the ones that have the most gear fear. So your hardcore players that are still there playing are probably your best fights anyway. So I don't think obviously it hurts because it gets rid of a little bit of that randomness, like that guy camped in a bush that you just didn't fucking hear or see because guess
Right.
what? He's not moving. You know, it's like sure, but I don't know. I don't
Well,
think it
here
was
and
that. I don't think it was a bad move.
to play devil's advocate on that, where people talk about the player base and everybody
Well, that was
jumping
just like
ship
the
to
one thing
PvE.
I could like
Right,
justify,
right.
like
Well, I'm just saying how other people say it. Like my thing is, you still have a lot of new players playing PvP mode because most people that don't have the Unheard edition or don't have Edge of
Edge of
Darkness edition, which
Darkness.
you can't even get anymore.
Right.
Those people are people who knew what Tarkov was. You're buying that edition if you've already been in Tarkov, or if watched your buddy play and you're committed, you want to play. New players are still going to just buy the base game, which does not come with PvE,
Correct.
and they're probably going to play in the PvP mode for a good while before they, buy
Even consider buying a
PvE.
new one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there still should be a good bit of new players. It shouldn't be all Chads running around on PvP. It should be a good
Yeah, and I
mix of
don't think
players
it is
still.
that. I just think like from the player
Well, like I
base as
said,
a whole standpoint, I could see it dropping a little, you know.
this wipe, PvE was already out. Like it came out last wipe. So
Yeah.
this wipe, there was already, PvP and PvE. You could play either one. I switched back to PvP and I
That's
played, I think I'm like level 25, 26, something like
I
that
say
right
I
now.
went back to PvP and got up to level 22 or 23,
Well,
21,
that's what I was gonna
22.
say. I didn't have any trouble running into people. Like there were plenty of people. Like it
Oh,
was
yeah,
just
absolutely. Yeah,
Same old
it
Tarkov to me.
yeah.
But
I didn't have any outstanding profound like
differences,
yeah, some profound moment happened that's like, "Oh shit, where are all the players?" You know, like that was never the
right, right.
case or,
Yeah,
"Oh
because like I
man, the
said,
hackers are out of control." Like there was never anything that made this wipe
the player thing, I could see it affecting match times, but you're still going to have the same amount of players, whether you got 200 people on or 2,000 people on. You're just going to
right.
have less matches being available, but there's still going to be the same amount of players in each raid. So I just never understood the people saying, "Oh, the raids are dead now." It's like, well, it's not because of people switching to PVE,
Well,
because that
and
just it doesn't work that way.
I mean, I still think that a lot of people say that the raids are dead. It's so easy
Well,
to run a raid and avoid everything or
it
just not
is.
go in and see stuff. And I don't know how many times I've had opportunities to kill plenty of players and just let them slide by because
Yeah.
whatever reason. And I
Yeah,
know
you're doing
that,
something or you're trying to do a mission and you don't, need a big mess going on. Because if you shoot somebody, not only are you fighting them, the rest of the map's going to hear you too. That's
right,
the other thing in PvP is
there's a lot
if
of
you
things
draw
weighing on each
attention,
shot.
yeah, if you draw attention to yourself, then you're pretty much letting everyone know where you are. But what I was going to say is like I'm just happy that they've got both modes.
Yeah,
I'm happy that we have a choice. Whatever way you want to play Tarkov, you can now. If you still want
right.
that craving, you still have that craving for Tarkov, but you are getting upset with dying, or you happen to see a couple hackers. Instead of switching to another game, you can just switch to the other if you want, and it's like it just gives you that ability to stay playing Tarkov, but get rid of all that stuff that's upsetting you. And I'm happy we actually have that because we didn't for so long.
It is definitely a net positive in my opinion as well.
Okay, well, branching over to how we play, both modes are like fit our play style pretty well. We're not like PvP only trying to run around and just fight every other player on the map. You know what I
Right.
mean? So
Yeah, I'm still even on the PvP modes, I'm still task oriented. I still prefer
yeah,
our more methodical play style.
yeah, we watch our surroundings. We keep track of where we're at, and like I don't run off from you, you don't run off from me. Like we stay pretty close. Like it's a very tactical but yet aggressive style. Because if we
It
find
is.
people,
Yeah, we
we will
move towards
engage.
fights. Yeah, every time.
Yeah,
We're the
like
assholes that are going to kill
third party.
you. Yeah, third party and you and the guys you were fighting, preferably.
Yeah.
We try to usually like if there's multiple like line up some shots first. Um, but it comes down to what we value in the game. Like we are just tactical players. We enjoy that aspect. We like running quiet. Well, I on PVE that's different. PVE I run
Yeah,
loud
yeah,
because
yeah,
there's just some really cool muzzle devices that you can put on that are a lot of fun. But on PvP we move slow. Not necessarily. Yeah, we move slow. We move quiet. We like to go in. We like to get our tasks done. We like to see our stats go up. We are
yeah.
stat whores. As much as we every wipe say we're not gonna give a shit about it. I don't. I couldn't care less about my
We
KD.
still
But then
do.
it's like it
We
matters. It
still
fucking
do.
matters. Yeah.
Yeah,
And it's that's the play style we enjoy. And it works out.
yeah.
It suits us well on both play modes. It really does.
Well,
But
it's
that's
like we play it more like a survival game. Like we
yeah.
don't just like
It's
we
not
care about our
a
player living. We don't want to
right.
just die and just reset, die, reset, die, reset. You know, it's like I want to keep my dude alive and accomplish as much as I can. And if I can't really do anything that raid, I'm willing to extract, wait till the next raid. Like I'm not just gonna throw it all away because I'm just there nothing's going my way, or I'm not
Oh,
just
I'm
gonna go
supposed
up
to
and
be
pick
in that
fights.
room for this task, but I know there's
Yeah,
3 or 4 players in there going at it. Well, it's
so
time for
I'm
me
just
to get in
running
there and
in.
go at it.
Right,
Now,
right.
granted, there are times where it's like I'll go to dorms or factory and I'm just fucking running full auto loud and just like making noise and being wacky, but that's so far few in between. And that's usually late wipe when I'm just burning through gear. Um,
Yeah,
but like we like seeing our survival streak go, you know, like
yeah,
we like tactical survival games. Him and I both play DayZ a lot, and we
yeah.
played like day one server, so there's no base building. It's all about how long can you on that one character manage to survive dealing with the the environment, the weather, the zombies, and the players. Like it's like all this stuff
Right.
coming together, trying to kill you. The bears, you know. But we take the same idea from DayZ and put it into Tarkov and vice versa.
Yeah.
Uh, it's just
Yeah, that's a good comparison because we do play both very similarly. Like
yeah,
we
absolutely.
play DayZ, we play Tarkov like it's DayZ, kind of.
We try to as much as we can. Yeah,
Yeah, and I mean, you can tell by like last wipe, my stats were freaking insane. Like I had an 82 survival. This was at the end of the wipe. I'm like level 46, I think. I have a what was it? An 82 survival rate, and I think I had like I can't remember my KD. It was in the teens, I think. I think it
as I
was
say, I
like
think it was around like
16.
16. Yeah,
Yeah, it's like 16 or 17, and I was so proud of that though, like, because
that's
like you
impressive.
said,
It takes a
even
lot
though
of
we
work
say
to
we're
do
not
that.
gonna do that, once it starts being that good, I try my best to
There's no
keep it
way you
that
want
good,
to
you know what
ruin
I mean?
it. Yeah,
Yeah, it's like, even in
and it is
PvE.
something you can be proud of too, because that's the thing about Tarkov is there's so many different ways that you can find enjoyment in the game.
Yeah,
Like we're all
and it's a
playing
tough
the
game,
same
like,
game, and
it's
we're
a
all
straight
playing
up
it a
tough
little bit
game.
different. Yeah, yeah,
I
absolutely.
always used to feel kinda weird about it, I'm like, like, is this game really, really hard, or am I just really bad? You know what I mean? Like,
Right,
and
right. Which
then
is it?
the better I got, I started asking, okay, is this game still really, really hard and I'm just decent now? Or and eventually I just realized you can kind of make the game how you want it to be. If you play a certain play style, you can
You
make
can make it
Tarkov
work
way
for you.
easier.
Yeah,
Yeah. Like if you're not running out in if you know what to do as far as like how to stay out of like trouble, like where
right.
the scav areas are, where the boss areas are, where the PvP hotspots are. If you know all that stuff, obviously the game gets easier if you want it to be.
Yeah, well,
If you
that's
want
what
it to
I
be
always tell
harder,
new
it could get harder
players.
too.
Yeah, that's what I always tell new players is map knowledge is a huge part of the game. Just knowing where people can spawn, where those people like to run to, where the bosses and the scavs spawn, and then obviously you need to know where all the like good, at least the good loot spawns are, at least the
Right.
majority of them, because you don't want to be walking past a random window and get your head taken off because you didn't know there's a fucking crate in there or whatever, you know, or there's Bitcoin spawns in that room or something. So
I'm
it's like
glad you mentioned that because I just want to bring something up about that is no matter I don't understand this part because the whole time I've played Tarkov, I've always had money. I've never had a problem with having
right.
money, which
How
I
many
know
hours
you
do you
haven't
have in the
either.
game?
I have over 6,000,
Okay. just
a
to
bunch.
just to help
I
people
have
understand the where you're at
I
in the
have
game.
6,700 hours. So
Yeah,
almost 7,000 hours.
and I'm sitting
Um,
at 3147.
but yeah, what I
So
was
yeah,
saying is I know so many people that complain about like, dude, I don't have any money, or I don't know how to make money, or I'm broke, and it's just like
Plug
I
Lighthouse
just
video.
yeah, that's that's one thing I never understood, because it's like even throughout all my play styles, all my learning Tarkov, all my figuring out everything, I always was able to make money. It's like I just go in with my scav, grab whatever, sell it.
Sell it. Do it
Yeah.
again.
And and I just see all these people all the time. It's like, yeah, I just and I'm like, why can't people make money? Like, do you know what that's about? Like, why people have such a tough time? Because I
Well,
can't
when
figure it out.
I first started playing Tarkov, and I'll try to stay as far from what I know now, because it has been a long time. But when I first started playing Tarkov, I found a lot of really interesting loot that I didn't realize was actually valuable. One,
Right.
so I'm like dropping big items that were worth money, that were single slot items, just to take on a 4 slot item because I didn't really understand the economy and how it worked.
Thinking bigger
So
is better.
not even necessarily that, just like, oh, I need fuel for this later, like, because like I
Oh,
had
okay.
Sig
Gotcha.
in my
Gotcha.
ear telling me this and that. Okay, let me try to even separate further. That might even be another part of it, is how many of these players come into the game just seeing, so and so live or doing it or on YouTube or whatever, and just try to
Well,
emulate that or copy it to a
yeah.
degree. And it's like, okay, you can run in, you can get the gunfights going, but you're still missing a big portion of the game. So it's either I'm torn on what I would say decisively, like, oh,
No,
it's probably this, but I think it's a
you're
culmination
right.
of things.
You're right. Yeah, you're totally right about that. Because right after I said what I said, I started thinking about that. I was like, the reason I probably had such an easy time as far as making money is because before I even bought Tarkov, I was watching people play it. I was watching
Right.
Pestley, I was watching Anton, I was
I
watching
came into Tarkov.
Aqua.
Yeah, I hadn't heard of Aqua, General Sam, like any of those guys that I'd met when I or met that I first learned about when I first started playing Tarkov was like
Right,
weeks after playing Tarkov. I'd never watched
right,
Landmark. I'd never watched anybody. I've never been a big watcher, anyways. Like I don't go and watch a lot of streams as it is, but
right.
I definitely wasn't watching Tarkov content. And when I would watch Tarkov content, it was usually I would just see somebody in a gunfight, like, yeah, that looks cool. I'd like to do that sometime, and then just go on about it. And then I finally, Sig started playing, so I started playing, and he probably knew more than he was letting on, and I know he was also like trying to loot horse shit. So like, to each their
Right,
own. Um,
right.
but I just would genuinely not know what to pick up. That was a lot of it. It's
Yeah,
like, okay, well, what do I need for
yeah, that makes
tasks?
sense.
Well, what,
That
and
makes
then
sense.
also only having a small backpack or on a scav, no backpack. So it's like there are challenges for a new
Yeah.
player that quickly present themselves, and unless you put the effort in and the time into learning those things,
No, it
you're
makes
you're
sense.
you're going to be behind on making money. So I
Yeah.
struggled with money at first for a while, but like as soon as we started playing and like and it wasn't even that we were playing and you were teaching me so much, which you absolutely were, but I was also outside of that, dude. I was scabbing Lighthouse every fucking day,
Yeah,
nonstop.
you
If you
just
weren't
learn
on,
from
I
playing.
was just doing it. And then if I wasn't playing, I was watching. So it's like
Right.
I once I dove into Tarkov, and like I had you helping me learn the entirety of the game, but then I'm also teaching myself a specific map, which helped. And then like all this, that, and the other. I think Lighthouse might have been a little late. I was probably doing other stuff, but then there was that patch. But anyways, there just comes a point in your Tarkov career, I guess, where it either you just don't care enough about the game to want to put the effort in to learn it, and you're just perfectly happy running in, maybe having a bad kit, maybe not, and just shooting shit to
Right.
shoot shit and doing the thing. That is absolutely an acceptable way of playing. But for me, that's
No,
where my switch turned the opposite way, and I was like, I'm in, like, full dive.
yeah.
Everything I can learn, I gotta learn. It's like I've got the EFT ammo charts. I still use those. That's a really like there's really useful tools if you go looking for them too. But again, it's a matter of having the resources and the time to just sit down and do it. So as a
Yeah.
new player that doesn't have a lot of time, that's just hopping in because it looks cool, it's a
Yeah.
struggle and it's hard. It can
Yeah.
definitely be
Yeah. I
frustrating.
I was just completely overlooking that, because like I said, now that I think about it, I was like so hooked on watching people play Tarkov. Like I would just sit down at work and put on like a Deadly Slop stream and just pretty much have that on all day when I was at work. So, not only am I, just hearing what he's doing, but I'm starting to see what items
You're
he's picking
retaining
up.
it
I'm seeing
too.
what he
Yeah.
sells. Yeah,
Yeah.
subconsciously, because it's just playing in my ear all day. You know what I mean? Like, even if I'm not watching the phone, I'm hearing it.
Yeah,
So it's
hearing,
like,
oh, there's this thing, and it's like he's
yeah,
on
you just pick
shoreline,
up,
he's looting
yeah,
computers, he's in this room
you just
or this
pick up
area called admin.
information.
Yeah, and it
And
all comes together.
right. So now it kind of makes more sense now I think about it as why it was so easy, because it probably depends on who you watch, whose play
Yeah,
style you emulate. Like it
exactly. Yeah,
it,
that's a
it
big part
probably
of it.
plays a big part. Because if you're watching someone who's a Chad and they make all their money from PvP fights, and then you go
You're
to
not,
play and you're
yeah,
not a Chad, then yeah, you're going to be broke
yeah, it's gonna be
because you're not
rough.
going to make any money. You're going to lose your kits over and over and over. So yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. I'm surprised I
In
never thought about
regards
that.
to my comment about if you don't have the right resources and tools and stuff, and there are really good tools out there, a couple of those tools are just simply one, when you are planning on getting into Tarkov, or say you're already playing Tarkov, whatever it is, just pull up maps. If you're
Yeah.
loading into a raid, obviously you want to have that map up if you don't know where you're going. But just like when you're in your stash, you should be checking out the map you're getting ready to go to. Try to just remember,
If
things about it, the way
if you
the
don't have a
water.
second PC, pull this stuff up on your phone. Like,
Yeah,
you have a way more than likely to see a map. And it gives you
because
all the extracts, it gives you all that kinda information.
and woods can be really confusing. But if you see a map and you know this road that connects to this road, oh, okay, well that means I'm right here. It's pretty easy to figure it out. On top of that, the EFT ammo chart, you can just look that up. EFT
You
ammo
don't even
chart.
need that now. You don't It's
Yeah,
built
well,
in the
yeah,
game
that's
now.
in game. Okay, yeah, that is
Yeah.
built in game. Click on the ammo
Yeah.
down at the bottom right. It says penetration on it. You can see what level of armor it will penetrate and what the percent or what the chance of it penetrating is.
But that was a
Um,
godsend before that was added to the
yeah,
game
I still
because
use it
you
because
had
I
no
forget
other way
about
of
this.
knowing.
Yeah, I just catch myself over on the website. Another one is while you're in raid, Tarkov flea market.
Yeah.
You can look up the price of an item in raid. So you found a bronze lion for new players. We call them Lons Bryans. So you found a Lons
Yeah.
Bryan and you're unsure on price, if it's worth carrying out a raid or whatever, or you find, a motor or anything, you just pull up your phone, Tarkov Market, search the item, if it's worth your time or not. And then watching people playing Tarkov, obviously, and just getting into raid. Don't worry about stats at first. Don't worry about your money at first. Like those things will come, and they are very important aspects of the game. Well, stats less, but money more. Focus on just learning. And I know that's a broad statement, but figure out when you spawn in that map, look left, look right, try to locate yourself with the map that you have that you're looking at, and figure out plan ahead of where you're going. Don't just aimlessly run. Say, I'm on customs. I want to get over to Crack House, which is the medical spot in front of Fortress. Well, looking at the map, you should know if you're over on the left hand side, you need to go up the road to the left, and there it is. Or you could cut through Fortress and construction. It's just those few things will teach you a lot, because when you start hearing gunshots, now all of a sudden you know what sector it's in. Oh, that's construction area. That's Fortress. That's Crack House. That's ice cream. There's dorms. Like you'll be able to pick things up, and then it all just starts to come together really nice and smooth for you. I don't have a lot of advice. I don't have a lot of tips, but just try to soak up as much as you can. Try to learn as much as you
Yeah.
can.
Basically put effort into learning the game, and the game becomes much easier.
Absolutely, yeah. Back towards play styles too. Okay. Just because your favorite streamer or YouTuber or whatever has a play style that works for them doesn't necessarily mean that's the only play style that works. You know, try things out, try out different firearm types. Maybe you're a DMR guy, maybe you like SMGs. Hell, maybe you're a fucking psycho and you like running bolt actions. I sure do. I know Adam does,
Yeah.
So it's like, and just find out what works for you and find out what you're comfortable with, because if you're not comfortable running through the raid with a gun that you're like unsure on distances, or you're not sure where you like to fight from or any of that, that just makes it that much harder. So you can go into your hideout, you can use your shooting range if you have it upgraded. If not, go into offline raids. Wait, can anybody do offline raids now? Everybody can, right?
Yes, anybody can do offline raids. You have to pay if you want to do co-op offline.
Yeah, but you can go in and do solo offline raids, and that's just a great tool. It doesn't matter if you die; you don't lose anything. Go in, test some guns out, test some playstyles out, see what works for you against bosses and scavs. There, if you are interested enough in Tarkov to learn Tarkov, it's very easy to learn Tarkov. It's just a matter of
Yeah.
diving in, you know. It's and
If
then
difficulty is a problem and you're having trouble,
hit us up.
you can do it. You just basically have to search out the information. And it's easy for someone like me because I'm an information whore. So when I start playing a game, I watch videos about it. I look up wikis. I look at every detail. Like I do it. I do it without
Oh,
trying. Like
yeah,
that's just me.
that's another really good tool. The Tarkov wiki. Anytime you have a task that you're not sure where the location is, just simply look up the task name. It'll pull up the Tarkov wiki and it gives you a full breakdown on where to go, what to do. That'll ease some of that pressure of the
Yeah.
early raid stuff for you guys as you're trying to learn it and everything.
Yeah. Really, to sum it all up, like there's tools out there. There's ways to get better. If you're having a hard time, you're struggling, it's not like the end of the world. You can easily learn things just by searching them. Like it's some people might not have time or might not want to do that. If that's the case, Tarkov might not be your game. It's a
well, and it's
very
not even
information based game.
yeah,
You need to
absolutely.
know that stuff. It's not like a casual Call of Duty or, I always like single out Call of Duty, but it's like that's the most popular like
Right. That's what a lot of
franchise, you know what
people,
I mean?
yeah.
Like, yeah, so it's, people know what Call of Duty is like, whether they
Right.
played, the last one or
5 years
the
ago or
one from,
yesterday.
yeah.
Yeah.
But anyways, it's like it takes dedication. Tarkov is like I said, it's a game that requires time, patience, learning, skill, a combination of all that. So it's hard at first, but it's rewarding if you take the time to learn it.
Very rewarding,
It's
yeah.
rewarding if you actually, you you start seeing progression. Like you start realizing, yeah, this was like crazy to me 2 months ago, and now I'm doing it. You know what I mean? That's a cool feeling in Targo.
It is. It's very rewarding. They do a good job about making you feel rewarded for even just making a small step forward. It just feels good.
Right?
Because the
They
game
send
is
you a
so hard.
signed poster from Nikita that says, "May you have a good day. I love you."
It's really sweet and thoughtful.
Yeah, I've got 3 of them.
But yeah, there's not like some magic number that we can give you or some magic setup or the perfect settings or there's no other way to like just magically grasp and be good at Tarkov. Like sure, you can load into a raid right now, first raid, and you could absolutely shit stomp everything, but you're still not gonna know how to get out. You're still not gonna know where to go to for loot. Like there's just it like Adam said, it just requires effort. There's no secret code to it or anything. I mean, you just
Yeah,
got to put the time in and bust ass, and it's fun and it is rewarding. Like you were saying, it's very
yeah.
rewarding. It is.
And that's another good thing about PvE. If you are having trouble in PvP and you want to play Tarkov, you're going to spend a lot of time in it, PvE is worth to buy.
Oh,
You can
absolutely.
hop in PvE and you can kind of play at your own pace. Take some time to learn all the maps, take some time to learn all the ammunition, all the guns, all the armors. Once you get that stuff down and you feel a lot more comfortable, you can switch back over to PvP and I'm sure you'll have a much better time. And some people, like I said, some people just it's not their game. Other people, it's a time thing. You just need time to learn. Other people, they're just good when they start. Like there's no reason if you want to play Tarkov, there's no reason you shouldn't be able to get better, good enough to compete because all the tools are out there. It's
They are.
just do you want to do it? And if you don't
It
do it, I think it's your fault and you're a bad person
yeah, idiot. Stupid fucking
and you should
idiot.
probably go home.
Um I think that sums it up pretty well. And
Yeah,
this episode is definitely catered to the newer players and the players that might be struggling with Tarkov. It's not always easy, and sometimes it's not even always fun. But
true that.
I can sit here and attest for it because a few wipes back I was bad. I had no idea what to do or anything. Like it was bad.
No, you guys don't understand. This guy sucked. No,
Yeah.
I'm
I
just
had to
I'm
like pay
kidding.
Adam
I'm
for
kidding.
several months just to get him to run raids with me for a while, and then like I still have to like let him fucking come to my house and eat my chocolate.
I
Um,
love his chocolate.
but yeah, no,
It's
I mean
Belgian.
it helps having somebody that like I've played Tarkov with a lot of different people, and it's really hard to find that group or even that person or the just your feel that all works well together.
Yeah. Yeah, you definitely
Because
need
not
someone with
everybody,
a similar play style.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Not everybody wants to have the same play style. I've got people that I enjoy playing Tarkov with, and when we load into a raid, I just let them run. Like, just go do your thing. Like,
Yeah.
I'll be back
Yeah.
here pulling it up. You know, like that's just how I like to play. You play how you like to play, as long as we can communicate. But the main thing is, it helps to have people to play with, especially if you can find somebody that knows the game that's willing to help you learn it more. But it's not impossible on your own, and that's really all I was getting
No.
at. Is even if you're a solo, you can still bust this shit out, and you can still be a pretty high end player. It just boils down to effort. Yeah, like Adam said, that's really all it comes down to. Are you willing to try?
And just to put it out there, there's no real posters that Nikita sends. I was making that up.
Oh, that's
I know
unfortunate.
it's disappointing. I
It
know.
is.
I do have 3 of them though.
Anything else?
I think that pretty much covers it. I mean, we went over a lot of stuff.
Uh, Red Baron. I'm still waiting on that fridge full of pizza. We can talk about it over the comments if you want, but you should just hit up my people. My people's already reaching out to your people, I think. Hit me up.
We should
Red
start
Baron.
tagging Red Baron
We should
on
start tagging Red Baron. We should. No. All right. So yeah, if you guys enjoy these Tarkov talks, make sure you tune in every Monday. We do them weekly.
Leave us some comments. Let us know what you think about the episode. Let us know what you might want to see in the future. And
This has been the Earleg Athlete.
this has been A Dizzle.